Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's March 24th, 2017. The news media today put out new information on the March 22nd, 2017 London attack, blamed on Khalid Masood, as the news media released his name yesterday. Now, today, March 24th, a day later, they're saying Khalid Masood was born Adrian Russell Ajao. We're going to talk about what's so interesting about that name, how it connects to the Invictus Games, which were tied to the Orlando false flag shooting of June 12th, 2016. I have several videos on this. If you forgot, last spring the UK had Invictus Games, then the United States had their Invictus Games, which was kind of like a small Olympics for soldiers of the Middle Eastern wars who've lost limbs, been injured by the wars. Right after the Invictus Games in Orlando, there was the June 12th false flag. We're going to go back and revisit that. Anyhow, from the June 12th false flag in Orlando, Florida, which they said was the worst terrorist attack in the United States since September 11th, 9/11, from those Invictus Games to this March 22nd London attack, was 9 months and 11 days. And if that seems coincidental now, please stay tuned. I'm going to prove to you this was no coincidence, and it truly was foreshadowed through the Invictus Games, and we'll talk about what Invictus has to do with it. The White Horse of Kent is Invictus, and remember, they said this attacker was from Kent, Khalid Masood. So we're going to get into his name. We're also going to talk about the big red helicopter that was on display the day of the attack. We'll put in quotes, March 22nd, 2017. That date, news media, their cameras were focused on the sirens in front of Parliament and also this big red shiny helicopter. And if you caught it, this helicopter had a Freemason compass and square right on the side of it. You can make it out between the windows, clear as day. As I explained, March 22nd is a Freemason ritual day. It is Freemasonry in high places controlling world government, world media, world banking that is responsible for this agenda. The Freemasons believe in divide and conquer, order out of chaos. That's why they stage these scenes of chaos, create this divisive propaganda. A divided people are more easily ruled over, and so are a fearful people. And here in the United States, I was watching CNN's coverage. Wolf Blitzer couldn't take his eyes off of this red helicopter and how impressive it was, talking about how impressive the helicopter was, while at the same time saying things as, I'm sure the people of the UK are in fear today. Who knows how many could be dead? It could be a catastrophe. And look at that big red helicopter. It was Wolf Blitzer's birthday, March 22nd. He turned 69 years old. And if you've never watched Wolf Blitzer before, he always gets extra inspired and excited to belt off lines of tragedy and murder. It's really sick when you're aware of what Wolf Blitzer truly is. So anyhow, this man, Adrian Russell Ajao, in Gematria sums to 117. Just yesterday, I put out the latest video adding to this playlist. It's the 7th video in the playlist. I talked about the 117 coding in his name, Khalid. This was before they put out his full name. And again, they're saying this Khalid is from Kent. Before they even released any information about the attacker, I showed how the March 22nd attack was part of an ongoing riddle planned many years in advance, which was even foreshadowed in the 1978 film, The 39 Steps. We're going to cover a lot here, just in case this is the first video you're seeing. Here's what you need to know about The 39 Steps. This film came out in 1978, 39 years ago. World War II began in 1939. The story is about just before the Great War. In Gematria, Great War equals 39. From the Brexit vote in the UK of June 23rd, 2016 to the attack was 39 weeks exactly. Brexit equals 39. Cameron equals 39. May equals 39, as in Theresa May, who replaced David Cameron. Both of them are born in October, the 10th month. If you write out 10, it sums to 39. The Prime Minister resides at 10 Downing Street. The Mayor of London is Sadiq Khan, a name in Gematria that sums to 39, just like 10. He's also born in October. All three of them are Libras. Libra equals 39. 39 is so significant to Masonic history, to biblical history. There's 39 books in the Old Testament. Masonry is based in ancient Israel's history, Jewish history, the Old Testament. In the United States, 39 proposals were made by Madison on a date with 39 numerology that became the 10 Bill of Rights. Again, when you write out 10, it sums to 39. When you write out Madison, it sums to 39. Madison did it on a date with 39 numerology, 10 commandments, and the 39 books of the Old Testament. The point to understand is the Freemasons, they work by a numerical code. They plan their events out way in advance, centuries, half centuries, and they execute them with all these planned tributes and rituals along the way in numbers foreshadowing their intentions. So check this out. Adrian Russell Ajao, the birth name of this supposed attacker, sums to 117, just like Khalid has the 117 coding. To understand these different ciphers, come to gematrinator.com. I'll link it in the description. If you type in Adrian Russell Ajao and you type it in correctly, it will sum to 117 in reverse reduction, just like Khalid does in reverse ordinal. Interrelated methods, all based on the alphabetic order. England has gematria of 117 in the Jewish cipher, which is also related to the alphabetic order. Just like Invictus sums to 117 with the alphabetic order. And if you go back and watch my work from last year on the Invictus Games and the Orlando false flag and the parallels between the United Kingdom and United States, talking about this then, 117. The man who wrote the poem Invictus about the White Horse of Kent, again, this attacker from Kent. And just real quick about Kent, you should know that Kent has gematria of 50 as well as 58 like Freemasonry. They said that this man was from Birmingham. That's where he changed his name to Khalid Masood, which sounds just like Mossad, Israel's secret intelligence service. ISIS. They said the man inspired by ISIS. But anyway, relevant number, very relevant to London, England, where this happened at. London, England also having the gematria of 58, super important to Freemasonry. Anyway, the man who wrote Invictus died in history on July 11th, 11/7 as they'd write it in the UK. And not by coincidence. All throughout history, people have been murdered by the numbers by this same code. It's ritualistic, it's sick, it's sinister. It's hard to say to whose benefit it is. So, from the date of the false flag in Orlando, June 12th, 2016, they said the worst attack in the United States since 9/11, to the March 22nd, 2017 attack, was 9 months and 11 days. 911. You go back to the old calendar, it's 2 months off, right? So September 11th is July 11th. There's an overlap between those dates. And again, just for more 117, in addition to Adrian Russell Ajao and Khalid's Central Intelligence Agency sums to 117, the United States of America 117, England 117, the United States, the United Kingdom, Israel, where Mossad is, Mossad, MI5, CIA, they are all New World Order assets because these are all New World Order nations. The New World Order is an old world order. It's Masonic. Masonic's thousands of years old. Somewhere along the way, it became very sinister, and perhaps it was just evolution, enough people coming together in powerful positions, advanced technology, and with a plan for world domination. Over time, this is what's happened in this world. But anyway, 117 significant. With regards to 117 being connected to the CIA and understanding that all of these intelligence branches are working together to serve the New World Order, the name Khalid Masood sums to 68. Like CIA, 1968 was a huge year. That's the year 911 was made the national emergency dialing code in America. World Trade Center construction began in New York. George W. Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones. 33 years later, he'd become the president. 2001, the same year 911 happened. From Bush's birthday, July 6th, to September 11th is also a span of 68 days. Don't forget that his father, the former president and member of Skull and Bones, that identifies by 322, like how we write the date March 22nd in the U.S., he was the head of the CIA before becoming vice president to Reagan and then president. His father, powerful senator during the time of World War II, also a member of Skull and Bones, which identifies by 322. So here in the reporting, Khalid Masood changed his name in Birmingham. And again, we talked about how Birmingham sums to 58, member of Freemasonry. Also in today's reporting, they say a fourth person has died. The reporting's gone from 4 dead, 40 injured, to 3 dead, 40 injured, to now 4 dead, 40 injured again. And they said the person's name was Leslie Rhodes. A lot of interesting things coded into that name. The age of 75, New World Order equals 75. There was that major New World Order tribute in France, another New World Order nation, on the 75th day of the year. The bombing at the IMF, International Monetary Fund, the Freemasons, the Zionists running international money, banking, media, government. With regards to this attack happening in Westminster, it has the gematria of 132, like England, like Elizabeth, Queen of England, like London Air Ambulance Helicopter, which we're about to look at, that's its name. Like United States of America, there's 132 rooms at the White House. Real quick on the Invictus Games. On the stage, they had written, "I am the master of my fate." And in gematria, using the alphabetic order, that sums to 223. We can just write it out here. I am the master of my fate, which comes from Invictus. 223. Also interesting that it's 110. The World Trade Centers were 110 stories tall. They came falling down on 9/11. The Orlando attack that followed the Invictus Games, the worst since 9/11. Donald Trump gave a speech in Orlando around the same time calling for legitimized terror as the national policy of the nation. Trump equals 88. Also like the I am the master of my fate. But anyway, the 223 coded on the screen, number of Freemasonry, Masonic equals 223, the Synagogue of Satan 223, that's the name for the false Jews said to rule in the end times in the final book of the Bible. The Jewish people aren't supposed to have a state, so think about what Israel is, the Zionist agenda, Zionist, the Synagogue of Satan. The Star Spangled Banner equals 223, measure twice, cut once, builder's motto, the Freemasons are builders. This right here is from the Invictus Games ad between the United States and UK. You might remember the Prince and the Queen, Obama and Michelle Obama, the viral advertising campaign about a year ago. I know it's the United States of amnesia. Nobody might remember. I'm talking about something from 1 year ago. But this was it. This was the ad. And if you looked at it carefully, the UK runner had 223, like the date March 22nd, like the date of this false flag. The US runner had 239, and the reason that's awesome is because the United States turned 239 years old, not this past July 4th, but the year before. So it was 239 years old when this came out. July 4th happened, the country turned 240. But the flag, the US flag, turned 239 years old on June 14th, which is Donald Trump's birthday. That's interesting because the flag was sewn at 239 Arch Street in Philadelphia. 239 is the 52nd prime. They said this attacker was 52 years old. Terrorist has gematria 52. Wait, I want to make sure I got that right. Terrorist, yeah, they said the man was 52 years old. just like prophecy. Think about the Prophet Muhammad, Quran. Government has gematria 52, like authority, like a lot of things. White House, special number. So anyway, the 223 coding was highly relevant in the Invictus games. Invictus 117, number now being coded all over this false flag in London, just as it was coded into the false flag in Orlando. Again, go back and watch my videos that I've already put out so I don't have to be redundant here. But I assure you, these are the patterns we've been following and talking about since then. Also, David Rockefeller just died, who's no doubt descendants of this New World Order Masonic Zionist bloodline. And the Rockefellers came to power on oil and Standard Oil, the company that bought out all of the refineries in their period of time, becoming a business force the world had never seen. Standard Oil equals 117, just like the United States of America, just like Central Intelligence Agency. Also, just like if you write out 13, very special number to the history of Freemasonry, the United States, and more. If you read about the CIA, if you read about Wall Street, the U.S. government, there's a lot of overlap. A lot of people go from jobs at the head of corporations to the CIA back and forth. It's because it's all interrelated. You know, we live in this commercial, money-driven world because it's a form of control, just like government. And so is materialism. All of these ways have been adopted and created over time and learned to control the masses. And this is what we're under, you know. A military dictatorship that, you know, coddles us along with consumerism and all sorts of things. You know, government, the Latin word means mind control. Here we are in 2017, government, something thousands of years old, continually evolving to control more and more people, as it does worldwide. If you've ever heard the United States of America as a corporation, it absolutely is. The United States of America even shares the gematria of corporation, a special number. We see this number coded into major events all throughout history, including Orlando, Florida, where the Invictus Games happened, and the shooting that corresponded 144, a number that measures time, and so much more. So let's get on with this helicopter with the Freemason compass and square on the side. Check this out. Again, this thing is called the London Air Ambulance Helicopter, and we talked about how that connects to Westminster, England, the Queen, United States of America. This ambulance got painted as it is February 12th, 2013. The BBC, the 223, B's the second letter, C's the third, the 223 had an article about this helicopter. This fleet of helicopters, their rescue response, all getting painted. They forgot to leave out the part about the Masonic logo, though. Anyway, notice the date of that article. It was in February, the only month with 42 gematria, like the word Freemason using English reduction. That date of the article was a date with 47 numerology. And again, 47 is the degrees that the compass is set at on the compass and square. 47 degrees because the tropics are 47 degrees apart that measure time. And real quick, just to appreciate this more about the 47, very special number here, 47. Here in the United States, you know, Donald Trump had his big GOP convention in Ohio. Ohio 47, like president, like authority, like White House, like government. Washington, D.C. connects. Washington, D.C., the streets are built at the same angle as the Freemason compass and square, forming this 47-degree point, pointing right at the White House, which has all of this 47 gematria within the English language. 137 degrees of curvature if you count the compass and the right angle from the square. Washington, D.C. in a gematria also sums to 137, like authority, like White House, like government. 137, the 33rd prime. You got the big G that represents 33. You see all this 33 federal masonry secrecy? You can add another one to the list. England 33. And the Freemasons love their false flags. False flag 33, don't overlook the 174. It's the old world trick of the new world order. You know, they said that 75-year-old Rhodes was hurt. Rhodes. You know, 33. Also 93 like propaganda if you caught that. Leslie, his name was Leslie Rhodes, like Parliament. Also like the Queen, who became the Queen on February 6th, 6/2, I believe in 52. So, also 47 Freemasons, Freemason rituals. The Freemasons have the 47th problem of Euclid about how to establish foundation. Foundation equals 47, like framework. The tropics are at 23.5 degrees north, 23.5 degrees south that measure the solstices, the natural way of telling time. Time has that gematria 47. Just like how Elizabeth has the gematria 47, just like how Trump has the gematria 47. And just so you know about the letters for PM, for Prime Minister, P in reduction breaks down to 7 because it's the 16th letter. M is the 13th letter breaking down to 4. PM, 7447. Again, we talked about how Prime Minister Theresa May and the Brexit vote 39 weeks earlier factored into this. I'll link all these posts. There's even more mind-blowing information to read here about things such as Donald Trump's convention starting 18/7, July 18th, 187 days before he became president in Washington, D.C., where a lot of things are coded 187 as well. And again, this incident, they said this man was responsible for hitting people with a vehicle and then stabbing a police officer to death. Remember, the police officer's name coded to death, just like the BBC headline about his death. But anyway, London 74, Masonic 74, stabbing 74. Masonic also 223, like the date, March 22nd. A year earlier, Belgium got the attack by the numbers. The Melbeek metro station equaled 223. It had been 223 weeks since Belgium had its last terrorist attack. You learn the language of gematria, you see through the false flags in record time. And understand when you have this knowledge, it's very efficient. You know, it takes me a while to make these blog posts and present the information, teach it to somebody. But once you know it, you can just recognize these things in real time and go, here we go again. It's like I've taught the whole time I've been here. Always look out for the date March 22nd. You know, it's one of their favorites. March 22nd is the 81st day of the calendar year, ripe for rituals. Remember, Freemasonry created our calendar as we know it. Calendar has gematria 58, like Gregorian. We're on the Gregorian calendar system. Freemasonry 58, Secret Society 58, Birmingham 58, London, England 58, United States with the X exceptions is even 58. Nation founded by Freemasons who came across from Europe, where Freemasonry had been since the time of Pythagoras at least. You know, we're getting close to 3,000 years. Pythagoras, very much considered a Freemason and very much into gematria. They credit gematria, what we're talking about here, to Freemasonry. Also, I got a little bit wild in this post, just put up a lot of interesting other things coded into this story. A lot of things stand out in the name Leslie Rhodes, the latest to die. A lot of numbers related to death, false flag, New World Order, Saturn, time. In case you're new here, that stuff can get overwhelming and might make it seem like we're just making it all up, you know. If you're new here, go back and watch my older videos. We've built the knowledge over time, the patterns, and we've come to a greater understanding. This is very much a mathematical subject. It's easy to get into, but there's a lot of fine details that can take a long time to appreciate as I'm learning. Again, the playlist is below if you missed it. Until next time, Truth Seeker.